Hello, I'm Valentin Mandache, your architecture historian, your expert in the historic houses of Southeast Europe. And here I'm in the village of Maldaresti, Oltenia Province, which is renowned for its Wallachian style architecture, both ecclesiastical, as we have here behind me, is the local village church, and the kulas. Kulas are the local humanaries houses, fortified houses nearby, like Kula Greciano or Kula Duca. Here I would like to present you an interesting case of Wallachian style in a rural manner, because the Wallachian style has a kind of, let's say, more academic shape, form, expression, like is in the great Horezu monastery or the Stavropoulos church in Bucharest, but also village churches which sprang up throughout the 18th century, the 18th century of Wallachia, when this style came into being and got widespread all over this principality, which was frontier of the Ottoman Empire, part of the Ottoman Empire, but with a special status where the locals had the right to build churches, unlike other Christian areas of the empire where the locals weren't able to do that thing so easily. But here they had that privilege, and this architecture, original architecture, sprang up in the 18th century. This is a more rural kind of expression of the style, which you can see from its rougher shapes and details, from the paintings, from all of those details of the church around it, or the cupolas. That is the, what I call it, the rural manner. But usually what you have in textbooks, in touristic and cultural guides, you have the towns expression, monastery-like, which are the highest levels of the style. And this one has its charm too, and it shows to you how it percolated to the whole state of the society of that period in Wallachia. Let's get closer to the entrance of it. We have there the veranda, which is typical for Wallachian style. If you go to churches, for example, in Moldavia, the entrance is straight from the east, from the west, or on the sides, or in other parts of the Ottoman Empire, again, you don't have veranda, except the mosques. This veranda is an adaptation of the mosques' verandas to the churches, a very creative adaptation. Also served in that period in the 18th century and even in the first part of the 19th century as the school of the village, of the town. The first public schooling in Wallachia took place in this kind of enclosures. The local priest was responsible for teaching the boys especially the letters and then how to read the holy book, and this is the first school system before the state established the public schooling. Again, it's a direct borrowing from the madrasas of the mosques of the Ottoman Empire at that time. Typical, apart from the veranda, of a Wallachian style church, and as I say here, pay attention, that is in the rural manner, near vernacular manner, it's portal. It has this kind of usually broken arch, different kind of variation on the same theme, which again is a borrowing from the Islamic architecture, from the Ottoman Baroque more precisely, of that period. So it's an extraordinary synthesis between Islam and Christianity as regards arts. A thing like this of synthesis has happened in Spain, of course, more than 1,000 years ago, in Sicily, in the Caucasus, for example, and here in Wallachia, which is the least known such phenomenon of the artistic interference between these major religious currents. You have around it the paradise, and then the dedicatory inscription, that kind of crowning with acanthus leaves, and the decoration usually is the hell, my favorite usually, which is quite standard in the 18th century, this kind of descriptions. This is on the right hand side from my perspective, and the left hand side from my perspective is the paradise, and the other standard paintings of that time. What I like as this rural church is the pavement over here, and you can see the pebble stones also, which was more or less the standard of the small roads in that times in the villages, towns. From the riverbed they used this material. So I hope that you find interesting this expose and this signaling of this variety of the Wallachian style, which by itself is not very well known in Europe, but this is its incarnation in rural, near vernacular manner. So I hope that I gave you an idea about this phenomenon which took place in the 18th century Wallachia, this frontier province of the Ottoman Empire. This particular church was built in the period between 1774 and 1790. Quite a stable period for the Ottoman Empire at that time, and prosperity shown in the community able to invest, to put money in such a work of art. Thank you. I'm Valentin Mandache, your architecture historian, specialist in the architectural history of Southeast Europe. Bye-bye.